Hello and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast, and welcome to our final flight. I'm Bankole and today we are discussing an emotional third episode of For All Mankind's 5th season. And joining me once more on this Gemini 7 flight, she's still trying to ghost people on Mars. It's Angel. How are you doing, Angel?
I'm feeling good today, actually, despite the emotional moments we're about to discuss. I'm happy. Amaze.
You're still in the Project Hailberry
Yes.
headspace. Yeah, we said last week the plan was to skip this week, obviously, but we said with the caveat that if Ed died, halfway cheekily, because I did actually think, I figured that the events of episode 2 would lead to his death, but I didn't think it would happen in the next episode, which kind of
Yeah.
I should have I figured that it would kind of accelerate his death, but I didn't think it would happen literally the next episode. So yeah, we're back for a quick episode, just to kind of, it didn't seem right to let Edward Baldwin go without talking about it.
Acknowledging him.
Yeah, so we'll be back obviously next week as always. But for now, we're talking about episode 3 of season 5, written by Nina Braddock and directed by Mira Minan. And it's titled Home. And I think that kind of title has a few kind of different meanings. I mean, there's the flashbacks, which I'm sure we'll talk about, which is Ed trying to get back home from the war after he's shut down. There is, in my opinion, possibly Aleida returning, quote unquote, home to Mars, which is obviously she's not been on Mars a lot. I think she's been on Mars once. But I think that's where she feels most comfortable, just in terms of the work and most
she's
useful.
Doing, she's not in the field. Yeah,
she's not a board member. She's not a CEO. She's an engineer.
She's a scientist, an engineer, exactly.
Yeah, and I think finally, most heartbreakingly, it's Ed going home, right, to meet all his dead friends, some of which we see in this episode.
That was tough.
Let's start with that. Let's just start with the Ed thing.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize that this was it? This was Ed's final flight?
Wow, you saying that actually takes me out every time.
Final fight, final breath.
Honestly, I don't think till the very end, because the way Ed is set up, I know Kelly being in her days and, everybody talking about him and him. I was mostly sure he was going to be fine. I'm like, yeah, fuck cancer. But Ed is so stubborn. I don't know how else to put it.
So he's a cockroach?
No, literally, I had to see it to believe it. So I think when he literally let that final breath out, I was like, oh, he died. Well, obviously, moments before that as well, when he was just real calm. I was like, oh, he's actually dying this episode. And I felt like it was, how do I say, anticlimactic, I don't know. I always expected Ed to go out in a blaze of fire. I don't know, never. I mean, I guess him getting Lee to that base was kind of his blaze of fire. But, this just seemed like such a human, normal death, which is true.
And I like that. Yeah. I like that it came down, because it's funny. It's like Ed, like you said, Ed has been through all these things, right? He's been stranded on the moon. He's been stranded on Mars. He's kind of saved his daughter and his unborn grandson while also walking out of a burning spaceship on Mars. He's done all these things.
Nothing he hasn't done.
And you would expect that, okay, he's gonna kind of go out like Gordo, like Tracy, like even Molly.
Yeah.
But no, he goes out, which I think is a good thing, is a nice thing. He goes out with his grandson beside him.
Yeah.
He goes out after seeing his daughter. But again, because it's Ed, his death is accelerated because he does this big thing for his friend, which I think we'll talk about in a second. So I did
actually would like to make a correction about when I realized he was going to die. It was actually immediately the flashback started. I was like, oh.
So the start of the episode.
Yeah, genuinely. That was when I was like, oh, he's dying. Okay. Yeah.
So for me too, that was when it happened, because two things happen. When you start seeing because it starts with the audio of the plane, and you see, before you see Ed, you see the plane. I was like, this is actually one of the best things about the way For All Mankind is set up, because they can do flashbacks without having to use de-aging technology, because in the real timeline of the show, the actors are using makeup to look older. Yeah, so exactly. I was like, this is probably going to be Ed. But then I was like, okay, this, to me, it all just cemented what I already thought, which was like, we're in the end game for Ed.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he was going to die next episode. Even
Mm.
up to the end, I was just like, really, I was really, because we did plan on recording this week. So I was like,
Yeah.
just go to, just die at the beginning of next episode. Don't die right after the beginning of the next episode. No, but so like I was like, okay, we're in the end game now. I think the only time when I did know that it was this episode that he was dying was, and it goes back to what we were saying earlier about like this being a human death and an emotional
Mm-hmm.
death, right? It was the Baldwins at the bar. That was when I was like, oh, which I think is, it's tied with another scene, but it's maybe one of my best scenes of this episode. Like it's tied with another scene. Um, yeah, it's Ed, kind of the best we've seen him in a very long time. Like he's not
Yeah.
petty. He's not like, he has been petty, but like Kelly and Alex get to understand him. Like they're like, yeah, we're not gonna fight this. He's
Yeah.
gonna
This
die.
is him.
We
Exactly.
just make it comfortable. And then he's talking about Karen and the
Oof.
only love of his life.
Oof.
Um, yeah, and it's a funny scene with. I love when he tells Alex to cough. It's like, it's like, and Alex like, um, yeah, no. So I was like, okay, this is kind of what we're doing. And it's funny. I was talking to Pete earlier in the season, or rather before the season started, and we're like, obviously Ed is probably going to die this season, and
Mm-hmm.
we're like, we we trust that this show knows how to make a moment emotional.
Yeah.
So like we had no doubts that they would kind of like, for lack of a better term, land the plane
Yeah.
with kind of
Oh my
Ed's
God.
death. And yeah, and like when, because again, let's just talk about the flashbacks. Because when it's happening, I'm like, why are we? Okay, I know Ed is about to die, but why are we seeing
Mm-hmm.
this flashback to the Korean War and everything?
Exactly.
And then I was like, oh, actually, no, they're showing us. As it went on, I was like, oh, they're showing us because this is kind of Ed's origin story. Does that make sense? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, before I even go on, like, what did you think of those flashbacks?
Honestly, I felt like it going specifically back to the Korean War had something to do with him saving Lee. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
look at what he experienced in this war. And knowing somebody like Ed, who's the type to hold a grudge, to be at a point where he's now risking his life to save somebody who's Korean as well is just very much like, I don't know if that's the point, but that's what I took away from it. I was just like, yeah, he's Ed. Like at the end of the day, I don't know, he's a hero. I don't know how to put it.
Yeah,
Like he's a hero.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had a very similar
Yeah.
kind of note and take. It was like it's kind of like I say, it's his origin story before his origin story. Like it kind of shows us how or why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
Right. This one man, who he ends up naming his son after, he names him
Literally.
Shane. He saves his life, right? But Ed
Mm-hmm.
couldn't reciprocate the favor. Ed watched him die. And I think from that moment, Ed was like, I would always kind of like protect my friends and save my friends.
Yeah.
And he always like he
Yeah.
explains why he went so far, even when it was obvious that it was the wrong decision to like help Gordo or help Danny, as in his young
Yeah.
and Gordo's son, or even Danielle.
No,
And
like there's nobody who benefited from nepotism or like being associated with somebody like the people who are close to Ed
to Ed,
because he
yeah,
was going to make sure you got what
yeah.
you wanted.
And to your point, right down to Lee, like he's like,
Yeah,
I am never gonna let somebody I know kind of not be saved by me. If that's the way
exactly.
and I say so right down to the last moment that kills him is like he's as if he was always trying to never let what happened in Korea happen again. Like somebody that cares
He
for
would
him or
rather
whatever.
die, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of why you're showing us this. You're I mean, we already kind of knew it because we knew Ed's psychology, but now you're explaining where it
Mm-hmm.
came from and kind of everything. And then it leads to maybe 8 to 10 years later, that Gemini 7 flight where they're orbiting Earth. And obviously we see Gordo.
Oh my God, my heart. When he
Uh,
popped out, I said, stop.
it's so funny because even when I watched the episode the second time, like when he sees Barnhill, Shane Barnhill, the guy that saves him, he
Mm-hmm.
says Barnhill, but every time I kept on hearing Gordo. But
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was like,
that's
that's
not
not
going
Gordo.
on.
I was like, did they
Yeah.
recast? Like, could the actor not come
How
back? And
dare they?
so, so when Gordo appears at the end, then I went back and listened on subtitles. Like, oh, that's Barnhill. But yeah, it's just
Mm-hmm.
Gordo, and then he's walking down the hall, and it's like
Oh.
what we expect from For All Mankind. It's like the NASA astronauts in their
Mm-hmm.
1960s uniform of short
Oh
sleeved white
God, how far
shirts.
we've come.
And then she pops up. And you're just like, this
Lady
is like,
King.
you're
Oh,
just like, we are not immune to any form of nostalgia. Like, this is it. This is the things that work on us. I'm sorry. We're not immune to nostalgia. We're
with
not immune
baby
to,
shade.
like,
I said, stop it. Y'all want to kill
um,
Ed. I mean, yes, he's dying, but damn.
yeah. I mean, as a side note, I'll discuss this on the Invincible episode as well. We should probably kind of rebrand this to the Chantel Van Shanten kind of podcast right now, because she's obviously just appeared on this. That's the actor that plays
Yeah.
Karen. She just appeared on what we call it, on For Mankind this week. She is the actress who played Becca on The Boys.
Oh, yes,
So
she is.
Billy's dead ex-wife,
Yeah.
and she's also the voice of Anissa on Invincible, who
I
also
did
makes an
not
appearance
know
on this week's
that.
episode. Yeah, so like she's just kind
Oh,
of in
I
all the
love
three
her.
shows, all the three shows we're talking about right now. She's kind of this specter. Um,
Here for that. I
yeah,
love her. That's my
yeah,
girl.
yeah. There
Actually,
was
let
no
me put
way
hearts up.
Ed was gonna die without us seeing Karen, right?
Yeah.
One
If
final
they're
time.
doing flashbacks,
Yeah.
despite everything. Oh, God.
Did you? So to you, did they land this? Did it make it work? Was Ed's final breath like?
I think
Did it
given
work
where
on you?
he's at in his life, that was the best possible way for Ed to go out. I mean, sure, he could have lived a little bit longer if he decided to just stay hooked up and see what
Yeah,
happens.
but.
But knowing Ed, like if he can't do anything, like he hates me useless.
Mm-hmm.
And to him, yeah, that's been useless. So I think they landed the plane, especially with the throwbacks with the people. I felt like throughout the whole episode, like I wasn't really feeling grief. I wasn't really feeling somber. I was just kind of. I think Kelly's probably an accurate representation of somebody who's like known Ed for a really long time and knows he's dying and how they would
Mm-hmm.
feel. I feel like I was more like Alex, even though I've known Ed for a really long time too. I was just like, he dying, like
Mm-hmm.
it's time. So in that way, I feel like they landed the plane, and then when they did the flashbacks at the end, that did get my heart. I said, whoa. You guys, you can't. We've lost so many people. And we're
Yeah.
losing Ed too. Ed is literally the backbone of the show. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
I do. Yeah, and obviously the credits roll with him and Gordo orbiting Earth.
No, it was so cute. I was like, stop. It was giving the Ken Lung exit on
Exits.
industry.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
industry. Yeah. Um, we'll talk about Margo and Aleida in a very brief second, but like Margo and Ellen are the only artists still alive from the first season, and as we'll talk about in a second, there's a good chance that we said last week that we might not see Margo again this season, and I think
Yeah.
now that we've seen her this episode, I feel like maybe we don't see her
Especially
again.
now.
Yeah.
I have serious thoughts there.
But yeah, Ed, like it's so interesting because I was like, I don't actually like I don't know what the next episode is. Like if the episode came out and they did like a 2-3 month time jump, I won't be surprised.
Yeah.
Um, I would like them to be a funeral, but I don't think like a funeral that can bring everybody back. But like I don't think like Daniel is not
How
going
are
to
they
be
gonna
on
do that?
Mars, whatever,
They have
right?
to live
Yeah,
stream.
yeah. I really it's just Danielle. Like everybody else, like Margot and Ed were not that body.
No.
Um,
And she's in
but yeah,
prison, so
yeah, she's in prison. Yeah, but like, so I wouldn't be surprised if the episode takes like a 2-3 month time. I don't think they would because they always are very precious with their time during seasons. But like, yeah, it's fully in the like everybody else kind of camp, and like
yeah.
this was kind of like wrapping up the,
Yeah, it's really
and
in
now
the
it's like
next
what's
gen
next?
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's next? And I think Dev would take a bigger role rest of the season. I think he's kind of had a
We've
not
barely seen
backseat, but
him.
like,
Yeah, we've
yeah,
barely seen him this
kind
season.
of like a
He's been on
shadowy role.
TV more than we've seen him in the
Yeah,
actual
so in like two
episodes.
scenes, one scene in
Mm-hmm.
episode 2, one scene in episode 3. So
Yeah.
I think now with Helios's plan and with Aleida on Mars and Kelly on the thing as well, Sojourner 1, which is the ship that they use to get to Mars
Yeah, that
with
Kelly's and
Danielle
what's her
and
name? Alita's
Kelly.
gonna go.
Yeah, fix up. Yeah. So let's talk about Margot and Aleida, which even before Ed passed away. I already thought this was an excellent episode of For All Mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to what I said in the premiere, unfortunately. It's just like Margo and Aleida just always work. They just always
They
work.
do.
There's just
And
so
it's
much.
crazy of you to set me up like that.
It's like, um, do you want to tell the listeners what you're talking
Yes.
about?
So basically, right, he tells me we have to record an episode like a few days ago because there's a really good Margo and Alida scene that we have to discuss. And I'm just like, sure, yeah, right. And I don't watch the episode till quite literally the day before or the morning of. So I'm watching it and I'm like, there are quite a few Margo and Alida scenes, so which was he talking
Which
about
one?
here? And then I see Ed take his final breath and I'm like, this
Well,
sneaky,
like,
which is
yeah,
great.
I couldn't be like, let's talk about it. Ed dies. No,
Yeah.
but
I
I do
appreciate
think,
that so much.
but even though I mean, there's kind of like a diversion or whatever, I do think there's like a strong Margo and Aleida arc here in
Yeah.
this episode, right?
Yeah. And that actually
And
made me sad.
yeah, it's like, and let's just talk about it. Like, it's the second scene really when it's funny. This is how fucked up I am, because when Alida is clearly emotional about everything, I'm thinking that she's worried that she's gonna like miss Marco's death. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, but I was like, she can't see that. So when she actually said what she really, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm just being the one being too cynical or too evil minded. But no, she's like, it should be you, which I don't know the physics of that. Like, if she was actually out in the world, could Margo even make the trip? I guess.
Honestly, no, she's in prison.
No, as
Oh,
in
yeah,
she
you're saying
wasn't
if
in
she was out in
prison.
the world.
Yeah, like
I mean, is
physically,
she too old? I
I
mean,
don't.
that's really fair because I was just thinking about Ed, but Ed didn't leave. So we actually don't know what that journey is
Yeah,
looking like. So probably
yeah.
not.
Or maybe they've made the journey just like a normal like flight.
Because we're discussing how she's only like 20 years older than Alida, right? So maybe
Yeah,
she's not that.
she's 70. She's 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's still got some good moments in her. We saw that she still keeps up with her activity as she can.
Yes. Yes.
So maybe she would be fine, actually. But I don't think to pilots,
No. I don't
definitely
think.
not.
No, I think it
She
was.
wouldn't do anything serious. She'd just be a passenger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, what did you think of this Margot leader
No, I
arc this episode?
genuinely thought, oh my God, like Margo is going to die while Alida's gone. Like that's exactly what came to mind, especially when Margo was crying in the jail cell. I said, hey, God. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know if that's what was in her mind or she was thinking about what Alida said about how it should be her and whatnot. But I feel like, honestly, I don't know if Margo's really ever had those aspirations to exit the earth, quite frankly. I'm trying to recall and I'm trying to think of
Well,
when has she really expressed that, oh, she wants to be on a flight.
I don't think it's necessarily just the act of going to Mars. I think it's like being the person that like directly is involved in finding life.
Which fair.
Like, because Aleda is going to Mars to fix the ship that they will use to
Yeah.
find Mars. It's not about the fact that she's,
Yeah.
because like, at this point everybody's in Mars. I don't think that's what Margot cares about. I think it's the idea that like she
She's
should
doing
be,
something important.
yes, she should be this person like spearheading the search for life or like finding life, because at this point they've found something, right? And I think that's kind of, so I think for Margot when she's crying in the jail cell, it's a combination of everything. It's like, yes, out of all the work, she achieved so much in her career, but like she doesn't get
Yeah,
to do this thing because of like all the things that happened that let her here. But at the same time,
exactly.
she's losing her only friend in the world.
That's what I was thinking.
Um,
Like, damn, bestie.
and again, because of her age and like where she is, there's a good chance. Maybe I don't know. We don't know what the show's going to do, but there's a good chance that she will never see that friend ever again.
Yeah,
So like it's a full year. At
yeah.
that age, a year is a lot of, and you're in jail. So I think it's
Mm-hmm.
all of those things, and like, yeah, it's the idea. This episode plays the idea that, because I thought like Aleda was visiting Margot like maybe once a week or maybe like twice a month, but it seems like maybe it was like more often than that.
Yeah, maybe twice a
Like,
week.
yeah, twice a week, maybe it's like, because like the way they look at the clock is like, oh, would she have been there on Friday? Does she go 3 times a week, for example,
Mm-hmm.
like Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays? So no, it is like, it was again so emotional. Like Margot puts on a brave face for her later, and then
Yeah.
just been like, don't cry for me and things like that. But But yeah, it was again just another knockout scene between the two characters, and the characters that share so much history together. So, but now Aleida is heading to Mars, and she will share scenes with Kelly and with Dev. So that should be interesting. Um,
I think she's gonna
do,
knock Dev on the head first and foremost.
well, he's still her boss,
Yes, but she's
so
gonna do it.
he's trying to build. He's trying to build his city, Meru.
uh, she's just gonna be like, can you please try and communicate? Like, honestly, you have no choice now because I'm gonna be in your face. But
Yeah.
goddamn,
Do
that was the
you
end of my spiel.
do you have any final things that we haven't touched on? Like, just very quickly, because we wanted to focus on Margo and Aleida and Ed.
Yes, I noticed this wonderful episode that Alex called Lily babe, and I'm really wondering where we went from crush to him calling her
He
babe
he
openly.
was grieving. He was
You
grieving.
know, I don't know if
Men
she
do
heard that and
things.
just ignored it, or we're really on babe levels. Like, is
What if
that where we're
they
at?
what if they say babe without like
I doubt it,
any
especially for
romantic
Alex. No, he
romantic?
would overthink that. Yeah,
Well,
no.
men do things when we're grieving. You can't hold us. Can't hold us.
That's the thing.
Um,
Because why did I see somewhere that when men are grieving, top one thing they want is a little sexual healing,
it's
baby,
the
which is so wild. It's like, shouldn't you
I,
be crying?
we cry in different ways. What do you want to say? People grieve in different ways.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah,
not watched Shrinking?
that's so true.
Like, yeah, so people do different things.
You didn't lie.
Boyd's partner.
Oh my God. First of all, let's talk about Boyd being gay. Hello.
Okay, okay. Let's talk about that.
I love how
Do you
they
have
threw that
more?
in there. No, I just love how they threw that in there. Like, oh my God, you can't have a one night stand in this space. I'm like, yeah, of course you'd be a fuck girl. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, also considering they also gave us a bit of a backstory that she was quite
She made a mistake.
playing around with the line on Earth. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so she's definitely in the fuck up category.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
who doesn't love a police officer
Which
that's a
makes
fuck up?
sense, because
As
she seems a lot too good for these MPKs,
mhm,
quite frankly, because they don't give a fuck. The MPKs are just like, And Bud is like, actually, can you open your jacket?
do some work.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's like um, I think her partner is either going to die or is going to turn out to be like
Involved.
corrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, involved. Yeah, it's one
Mm-hmm.
of those two because I
I'm
think they are making that relationship
strong.
too good.
I'm very strongly inclined to believe he's involved, or yeah, he's gonna die for her sake in some way. Surprised he didn't even die, like in the Ed kerfuffle, but which actually
It's too
surprised me
soon.
because I genuinely thought he was gonna die there.
It's too soon. They need to
Let's
make
radicalize
they're working
Boyd.
on that relationship. They're building that
Um,
relationship.
but I feel like the betrayal would be more meaty
Yeah.
in this sense, especially given
Speaking of
that.
only friends,
Thank you,
yeah.
exactly that. Given that that's her only friend. Yeah.
Um, after 5 seasons or 4 seasons and 3 episodes, and 1968, 1969, we're in 2012. So yeah, almost 60 years of almost 50 years. Edward Baldwin has like left our lives. He like yeah is
Oh,
he's a character.
Eddie.
It's like
Yeah.
he's I can't wait to rewatch the show.
Yeah,
Because
genuinely. Those first couple of seasons I got to hit like crap. Sorry.
yeah, we've had okay, that's the thing you're apologizing for on this episode.
Yeah.
That's all thing you said. Um yeah, no, I am like I'm happy. I do think personally that this show kind of handled Ed's death well, and it was emotional, and it kind of cemented all the things we knew about the character and gave us a
Yeah.
bit more shading. It was
Mm-hmm.
nice to obviously see Godo and
Oh,
Karen back. Um, yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Well,
yeah.
now I'm just hopeful that like now it's just like a lot of trust in not even just next gen because like we're being a bit harsh. Like lots of people here from season 2, like Dev season 2. I think Karen. I think this character. I think this actor for Kelly's season 2 as well. Obviously a later
Is
season 2. So
she?
all these guys are from
Yeah, she
season 2.
probably is
So
actually because of the
yeah.
time jump. Yeah.
Yeah, so lots of characters I like are still in the show, so we're excited to see kind of what
I'm
goes
honestly
on.
really excited because I've been waiting for Ed to die. Like it's enough, Grandpa.
Yeah,
Let's get out of here. Like I was tired of, I was
but
happy
that
they
was the
kept
thing.
him,
That was the thing. That
but
was like there was nothing else the story could
no,
do with
literally,
him. Like
what else are we gonna do
it
with
should
Ed?
have, yeah. So they picked. I think they picked the right time for him to go,
100%
and
and the
it
right
made
way,
sense.
you
Yeah.
know.
Okay. Speaking of going at the right time, we will be back next week with our usual 1 hour plus deep dives with a special guest next week. We just had to talk about Ed's
Death.
departure from our lives. So,
Yeah.
um, our Admiral, Edward Baldwin.
Rest
So,
in
if you
peace,
have any,
sir.
yeah, obviously, as always, can message us, can comment, and we'll discuss it next week's episode. Angel, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. I just love to add something to the next gen comment. I'm so excited to see the reactions to Miles's betrayal, quote unquote. I don't know if you
Oh,
can call it a
yeah.
betrayal,
Well,
because
that
it
hasn't come
seems
out
like
full.
it's coming up. It's
It's
coming up.
coming definitely
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
felt it in
Yeah.
this episode. I said, we're getting closer, Miles.
Yeah, it's
Somebody's
happening.
when he went to go get his daughter, I was like, starting to look a little fishy,
Yeah. And
isn't it?
now he's agreed to help Palmer. He didn't agree last week.
Exactly.
So now he's agreed
Exactly.
now. So that will definitely
So,
come
yeah,
out at some point.
coming to you
Um
next week.
Next week, yes, we'll be back next week, same time, same place, talking about episode 4 of For Mankind season 5. Angel, thank you. Thank you to everyone who's listened. Please rate and review and subscribe and join us next week.
Oh,
We'll be joined with
rate,
us
review,
going on.
and subscribe. Wow.
Yeah, it's different platforms.
Yeah,
It's different
get
platforms.
busy, y'all.
Yeah, it's a lot of just do it. Just do it. Yeah, join us next week when we're joined by Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya. Bye guys.